Welcome to Tactical Talk. This is Zain Khan. Today, the topic of our show is fifth-generation fighter aircraft prospects for the Pakistani Air Force. Today, the guest of our show is retired Air Marshal Masood Akhtar, a public intellectual and also a senior defense analyst. Welcome to our show, Air Marshal Masood Akhtar. This is Zain Khan. It's a pleasure to have you on Tactical Talk.
Thank you.
Air Marshal Masood Akhtar, let's get to the first question. What defines a fifth-generation fighter aircraft?
Let's go through all five quickly, either in terms of time or in terms of technology. I would prefer time. 45 to 55 was the first generation, only guns, rudimentary gun sights, some bit of tracking radars. Then 50 to 65 is the second generation. Along with the better guns, better gun sights, we had initial air-to-air missiles, which were AIM-9B, Air Intercept Missile B, or GAR-8, Guided Air Rocket, and these were the primitive IR-guided close combat missiles, Atoll by the Russians or the Soviets, and AIM-9B by the Americans. And of course, the aircraft were basically F-86, MiG-15, MiG-17. Third generation was 50 to 65, and these were MiG-21s, Mirages, and they had better IR missiles, and the first initial BVRs began to appear. The fourth generation is between 65 to 75, Mirage, F-16, Sukhoi 30. And these aircraft were, of course, they had better missiles, they had better BVRs, but they were also highly agile, and fly-by-wire was the mainstay of these aircraft. The fourth generation is between 75 and 95. And these aircraft were, of course, the F-16, the Sukhoi 30, and the Rafale and Mirage 2000. Static stability, fly-by-wire, highly maneuverable, some bit of stealth also began to come in the form of F-117, which were used during Gulf War II. Fourth generation that we are talking of was, this was the fourth generation. 95 to 2025 is what you've asked the question on, is the fifth generation aircraft. They had all the good qualities of third, fourth generation, but fifth generation means internal bay tank. They can carry a lot of weapons inside their bay tanks. And highly powerful engines, even better stealth, better penetration capabilities, good EW protection suites. And these aircraft are namely the J-20 by the Chinese, F-22, F-35 by the Americans, and by the Russians, it is, I believe it is PKAF or FA, in which the Indians also have invested. So these are the fifth generation, and 2025 onwards is going to be the sixth generation aircraft. So fifth generation is going to be the super duper, highly maneuverable, very powerful engines. Of course, they have got the third, fourth generation fly-by-wire, but internal bay and great integration and great EW protection suites, and they can carry a lot of weapons. The three countries that are there, of course, are the Russians, the Chinese, and the Americans.
Let's get to the second question. How important is it going for a fifth generation aircraft for the Pakistani Air Force?
Basically, all nations that have huge security problems, and we live in a volatile region in which we have got enemies all over, but of course towards the east is India. They have invested in a stealth aircraft of the Russian aircraft of fifth generation nature. They are co-producing it, although they're having problems. And in case we wish to meet our security needs, this is it. We have to invest. We have to look for it in terms of somebody from outside. Our technological base is not too good. So it's very crucial to meet our security needs the way we had the BVR problem for a long time till we got the Block 52. And that is when we could restore the balance between the Indian Air Force and the Pakistani Air Force and meet our security needs. We need a fifth generation aircraft. May not be today, but within the next 5 years to a decade, definitely we need one.
Can we say Pakistani Air Force is capable of independent development of fifth generation fighter aircrafts?
We pride ourselves in having done the JF-17. I mean, nobody expected this. We are the first Air Force in the world that has produced a fourth generation plus minus aircraft, which can well move into the fifth generation over time period. A 3.5 generation, fourth generation, it will come to, that is the F-16 Block 52, Sukhoi 30 and Rafale kind of aeroplanes. But to say that we can produce a fifth generation, little that I know, this Chief of Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal Suleiman, is toying around with the ideas. We've got the capability, but the bottoms-up technological base not being there, it'll be difficult. Besides the three nations that we have talked of, we'll also see some bit of fifth generation with a twin tail by the Iranians, but more often than not, people say that is a Photoshop image or maybe a model aircraft that's been shown. It's not simple, it's not easy. Pakistan Air Force is toying around with it, but obviously we have also looked at the J-20. I don't know what's the political muscle like in case of Pakistan and the finances that are going to come up. But if we need to meet our security needs, the way forward is the stealth fighter of the fifth generation type. And I think Pakistan Air Force is going for it one way or the other.
Okay, this is a very important question. Which countries have a fifth generation fighter aircraft program in place?
Basically, like I said, three of them: the United States, the Soviets, and the Chinese. The best one, obviously, are the Americans, and that is where from the Russians and the Chinese both are known to have or alleged to have copied the designs and everything. The composite materials that are there in the American, and that's what I failed to mention, I think the best are the Americans. So the F-22 Raptor was the first one, which has been on the boards, and now it is operational with the USAF squadrons, has been under development for the last almost 20-30 years. So they are the best. The Chinese and the Russian ones are a little bigger. They're a little bigger, longish, and with a bigger wingspan. But of course, the best is the American. And I believe they're giving it to very few people like in Israel and maybe UK and people like those. So only these three nations have it as of now. Well, time will tell for the future.
Air Marshal Masood Akhtar, last question. Which options can Pakistani Air Force PAF exercise with respect to inland and outside possibilities to pursue this goal?
Inland, like I said, we have toyed around with the ideas at air weapon, not at air weapon complex, but in the Pakistan Aeronautical Complex. We have a team of very competent aerospace and avionics engineers who are working on these things. I do not know as of now, but it's going to be a difficult bet. But I know for sure we may not have flown the J-20, but we have looked at it. I think there have been discussions with the Chinese companies. Probably in case we can find enough money and arrange some loan, political muscle probably will be there and we could get some from them. But like I said, the time frame is something like 5 years to a decade's time when the threat is going to materialize, and by then we should have had some option. So J-20 is the only one that's available to us right now. Russians also have begun to talk to us because the Indians have gone into the American camp, but they're not likely to share their fifth generation PKFG kind of aircraft to us. So J-20 is the option, I believe. That's the viable one right now.
Thank you so much, Air Marshal Masood Akhtar, for being on Tactical Talk. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This was Air Marshal Masood Akhtar, a public intellectual and also a senior defense analyst, discussing the prospects of a fifth generation fighter aircraft for the Pakistan Air Force. Until the next episode of Tactical Talk, this is Zain Khan. Take care and goodbye.